exam part 1, video on 𝗬𝗪𝗁𝗲 series 1. So wind releasing asana, which aims to release air from the joints, encourage circulation and give good blood flow to the body. These traditional poses are also known as anti-inflammatory, which help relieve symptoms of joint and muscle pain, encourage energy and prana to flow through the body, through the joints. They're particularly helpful to people suffering from pain, swelling, redness, or limited range of joint movement, but practice can also help reduce and prevent future diseases. There is no age barrier to this series of asana, and they can be enjoyed by anyone, but just taking particular note of any individual considerations. That may mean the person has to work at a reduced range or occasionally miss out an exercise. So 𝗬𝗪𝗁𝗲, it can be performed in the morning or in the evening on its own or incorporated into a practice. And it can be used as preparation for more advanced asanas. So to practice asanas, and they should never be forced regardless of which ones they are. They really don't want to be rushed either. And ideally working with the breath, visualizing the movement before progressing with the movement. The majority of these asanas in this particular series can be performed for a minimum of 8 to 10 repetitions. And the asanas will include things to work through the joints. So for example, the toes, the ankles, the knees, the hips, the wrists, the fingers, the shoulders, the neck, etc. And I'll perform a selection of these in the video. So let's begin. So to start our practice, let's sit comfortably in Sukhanasana, easy pose, and we can either sit on easy pose on our bottoms using the aid of a block, a cushion, a bolster, or even sitting supported with our nice straight back on a chair. If this isn't comfortable, we could go directly to Dandasana, staff pose. So for now, let's sit on our seated position here, cross-legged, relaxing the shoulders back and down, reaching the crown of the head up, and just relaxing the body. We'll gently close the eyes in our position, relax the eyes. Just allow the breath to flow steady through the body. And we'll start our practice with 1 times on. We inhale. Feeling the vibration through the body, feeling the calmness. Gently rub our hands and cover our eyes and open the eyes, releasing the arms down. Bringing ourselves directly to base position for 𝗬𝗪𝗁𝗲, sitting nice and upright in staff position on the sit bones. Stacking the spine, releasing the shoulders down, flexing the toes, placing the hands at the side of the hip and activating through the arms, reaching the crown of the head nice and high. Shoulder blades reaching down the back. Modifications to this would be to slightly bend the knees, sitting on a cushion or a bolster, or even on a chair with legs supported in front. So we'll begin by moving the toes. We're going to keep the feet flexed, spread the toes and pull the toes back towards the shins and allow the toes to come forward. So asanas, generally we'll perform this one 8 to 10 times. We'll inhale the toes back and exhale them forward, maintaining our nice upright posture. And starting to synchronize the breath with the movement. one, working into ankle flexion. We'll push now with the heels of the feet and draw the flat foot back towards the shin. And then allow the feet to fall forward towards the mat, stretching into the top of the foot. So we inhale, ankle flexion, pulling the toes and the foot back. And exhale to push them away. Again, 8 to 10 times and within your own range. And if you have back pain, you can always take a small bend at the knees or use some supports. And release. Moving on for work within the knees, we're going to slide one foot in, so bringing the foot nice and close towards the groin, but allowing yourself to keep that upright posture, so not resting on the leg. We're going to take a hold of the back of the thigh. So we use our sort of strength from the upper arm to help with supporting the leg. We're going to inhale and float the leg, lengthening the leg, and exhale to release it down to the mat, working through the knee. So if needed, we can make a slight bend backwards to give a little bit more space, enabling ourselves to get the leg higher. And if there's discomfort in the back or in the leg, we can reduce the range of the leg. So our last repetition, we're going to hold that out there, keeping a nice length and stretch where we can. And then carefully bending the knee, replacing the leg on the mat, and taking the opposite leg, bringing the leg in towards the groin, and again a slight bend back if needed, keeping the back nice and aligned. Taking hold of the back of the thigh, we inhale to lengthen the leg up, exhale to release it down. Again, 8 to 10 is excellent. And if the arm is not comfortable in this position, you could use, for instance, a strap, a band to help support the weight of the leg. And holding the leg, lengthening the leg away, and then carefully releasing the leg down and stretching the leg out. Just give the legs a little shake. We're going to work now in half butterfly. So we're going to slide one leg in, our right leg, and we'll place the leg up onto the left thigh. So our aim is to work now to open out the hips. So excellent preparation for hip opening exercises, or also preparation for getting into meditation posture and being comfortable and able to sit in that posture for a considerable amount of time. So with our right leg across, we're going to flex the right foot, taking a hold with the left hand. And our opposite hand we're going to use to allow the knee to come in towards the chest, and then we're pushing the leg, the knee area down towards the mat, so opening out at the hip. It's best to go slow to start with, just feeling the range, working within the range. And this one can be enjoyed for about 20 repetitions. And we can hold that little bit extra as we push the leg down. So breathing in, pressing down, breathing out to draw the knee in towards the chest. And release, just one little hold here, and then we'll switch legs. So if you have discomfort, you could always leave the leg resting on the foot resting on the mat by the inner thigh, and work within the range. If the knees are very high because of flexibility around the hip being an issue to start with, You could place a block or a bolster so you don't feel that you need to go quite so wide on the hip. So let's take it to the opposite leg. So either here if you really need to because of tight hips, otherwise we'll take the foot, bring it onto the thigh, flex the foot, take a hold with the foot, maintain that upright position, and breathing in to lower, breathing out to return towards the knee and the chest, and press. So this is nice to prepare for the full butterfly, working into the hips and then taking it one stage further into perhaps lotus. So just trying to hold the hip open a little bit longer. And again, 20 or so, or however many you feel you need. And release, holding out. And releasing, moving on to full butterfly. So shake the legs out if they need it here. Sliding the feet together, bringing the feet in towards the groin. So to modify this position, we can take the legs further away. Certainly if there's any back pain or the hips are particularly tight, so we can enjoy that by moving the legs further out. Otherwise, let's take the legs a little bit closer together, feet together. We're sat nice and high on the sit bones. We're resting equally on those sit bones on the mat with a nice upright position. And starting to think now about gently allowing the knees to come in and fall down to the ground, drawing up towards the arms, falling to the ground. So really encouraging the spine to be nice and long. Starting to just work slowly to start with, maybe for about 20-25 repetitions. So very good preparation for meditative posture. And then maybe starting to increase that pace. So we're looking like a little butterfly, feet are pushing in together, spine is reaching nice and long, and we're getting the hips down towards, externally rotating them, the knees are coming down towards the mat. And release. So from here, just a quick little extra stretch. We'll just allow our elbows to push into the inner thigh, knee region, just to try and open out the hips a little bit more before we enjoy a counter pose by letting the knees come together, feet come together, and just giving those legs a little hug and the knees a little hug. So we can either return ourselves to Dandasana, staff pose, or now that we've got quite a bit of opening of the hips, we can move into seated Sukhanasana again. So nice and comfortable, allowing the hips to relax down towards the mat and maintain the high posture. So moving on from the legs, moving up to the hands and arms. We're going to reach our arms out at shoulder height, ensuring that we don't round the shoulders forward, so we're keeping the back nice and wide and flat. And from here, inhaling the fingers up towards the ceiling, pushing away with the heel of the hand. And then we're going to exhale, the fingers down to the mat, and inhale, lift. So pushing away with the heel of the hand, keeping the arms nice and active, and still using that breath pattern. So if there's difficulty with this movement around the wrists, then you could simply reduce the range. If there's difficulty and aching shoulders, for instance, arms could be lowered, so it takes a little bit more, it's a little bit less effort and stress within the shoulders. again 8 to 10 repetitions and release. So working again around the arms and the wrists, we'll float the arms forward, taking the fist this time, the thumb comes in and the fingers will wrap over. We're going to inhale to rotate the wrists up, exhale to rotate them down. 8 to 10 repetitions is fine, keeping the arms nice and active, pushing the sit bones into the ground, reaching the crown of the head away to the ceiling. And we'll change direction, inhaling up, exhaling down. So nice work around the wrists. And release. Just shake out the arms and the hands if they need it. We're going to move on to work with some shoulder rotation. So roll the shoulders back and down. We'll take the fingers to the shoulders and slide the elbows up. So making sure that we're still aligned through the spine, relaxed across the hips. Still trying to work through the hips. Focusing now purely on the shoulder rotation. We're going to draw the elbows in, circling in and opening through the chest. We can bring the elbows close, but don't worry if they're not so close and there's a gap. As your mobility increases, they will become closer. So breathing in to circle, opening the chest, breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Again, 8 to 10 repetitions is sufficient. And we'll release and change directions. So we're coming in at the top, rolling down. So we can feel a stretch coming along the upper back. And this exercise is good for people with frozen shoulder or cervical issues, stiffness around the neck. Aiming to work slow and smooth, following and using the breath pattern. And release. So always working within your own range. So now we're just going to release ourselves and come to a comfortable seated position, closing our eyes, taking relaxing breaths. So if we wish, we could take Savasana, or we could progress on to some more asanas. But for now, we'll bring the video to a close. So just allowing the breath to flow nice and freely, relaxing the body, being grateful for what we've achieved today. And coming to a close with Om Shanti. Inhale. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Rubbing the hands together, generating heat. Covering the eyes, enjoy the heat. Feel the energy through the body. Bringing our hands to heart center, dropping the eye gaze down, carefully opening the eyes and allowing ourselves to come back to neutral posture. Namaste.